What if we, as a civilization, could collect all of the sun's energy? Energy is the universal currency. The extent of a civilization depends on how much energy it consumes. With increase in consumption of energy, the size of a civilization grows. The invention of fire was such a huge invention that it changed the course of our civilization. Humans have learned to exploit more and more sources of energy only because the need of energy is growing exponentially. And in the future, if we survived, our energy consumption will increase. A time will come when our needs will be far beyond our planet capabilities. What will we do at that time? For that period of time, several hundred years from now, a megastructure is proposed that will provide us enough energy so we can survive, and can help us to look deep into space for several thousand years or so. A Dyson Sphere is a hypothetical megastructure that completely encompasses a star and captures its energy output. It is a structure that would allow a species to capture energy from a star and beam that energy back to any place where needed. The concept of the Dyson Sphere was the result of a thought experiment by physicist and mathematician Freeman Dyson, when he theorized that all technological civilizations constantly increases their demand for energy. He reasoned that if human civilization expanded energy demands long enough, there would come a time when it will demand the total energy output of the sun. This hypothetical megastructure, as proposed by Dyson, would be the size of a planetary orbit and consist of a shell of solar collectors or habitats around the star. This megastructure is beyond the current scope of our technological advancement, but who knows what's there in the future for us. This megastructure can be assumed as such a big battery that can provide us infinite amount of energy. The benefits will be enormous. A typical star such as our Sun generates energy from a process called nuclear fusion. The Sun releases energy at a mass-energy conversion rate of 4.26 million metric tons per second, which produces the equivalent of 38,460 septillion watts of energy per second. To put that in perspective, this is the equivalent of about 9.192 into 10 raised to 10 megatons of TNT per second, or 1,820,000,000 Tsar Bombas. The most powerful thermonuclear bomb ever built. In a single hour, the amount of power from the sun that strikes the Earth is more than the entire world consumes in a year. Now, what are the hurdles in constructing such a huge megastructure? Building a shell around a star that harnesses all of its energy is not as easy. There are various proposed types of Dyson Sphere, Dyson Swarm, Dyson Bubble or a Dyson Ring. We will only talk about two most complex forms, the Dyson Shell and Dyson Swarm. The Dyson Swarm as proposed will be a ring of small power-collecting satellites known as the Dyson Swarm, based on small or several rings encompassing a star. In its most complex form, the Dyson Shell, the structure itself would completely encompass a star, absorbing energy every hour of the day, giving humans access to almost unlimited energy. However, the resources and technology needed to create a fully functioning Dyson Sphere is tremendous and is nothing like anything humanity has ever created in its entire existence. Even the smallest stars are massive in size, so building a structure to fully encompass one is not the easiest feat. First, let's talk about the possibility of constructing a Dyson shell which completely encompasses a star. The major hurdles are as follows. The resources required to build that shell. A spherical shell in our solar system with a radius of 1 astronomical unit would have a surface area of approximately 2.80 raised to 17 square kilometer, or about 550 million times the surface area of Earth. For constructing that sphere, we may need to completely disassemble a planet for the resources required, which will in turn need a huge amount of energy to start with. Next is the technology required to build such a sophisticated structure. If assuming a radius of 1 AU of the proposed Dyson shell, then the compressive strength of the material forming the sphere would have to be immense to prevent implosion due to the star's gravity. A highly rigid body like that is always vulnerable to distortions and cracks, especially when it is placed in the cosmos where random objects like asteroids collide with the panels. The whole structure may collapse and might eventually fall back into the star. A civilization such as ours with no experience in building a megastructure in space will face some major hurdles, The cost of the mission is one of them. The ISS, or the International Space Station, which is the single most expensive object ever built. The cost of the ISS has been estimated at over $120 billion. The Dyson Sphere may take some trillions from the world economy, but these costs may be minimized in the future. Let's talk about the second variant of the Dyson Sphere. The Dyson Swarm. Unlike a shell-like Dyson Sphere, a Dyson Swarm is more feasible. A Dyson Swarm would be composed of energy collector satellites orbiting like a net around a star. Energy would be transferred wirelessly between the individual components and Earth. Alternatively, millions of mirrors could be used to focus light onto a fewer number of collectors. The Dyson Swarm is made up of 1-kilometer solar panels that orbit the star in hundreds of stable crisscross patterns. The raw materials needed to build a Dyson Swarm can be mined from a planet nearby. The entire building process would be carried out by automated, self-replicating robots. An army of these mechanical workers could be sent to nearby planet around the star to mine materials, create an working environment for resources. The major problem of a Dyson Swarm is its energy efficiency. Materials that can fully utilize and reflect solar energy without major energy loss is still not synthesized yet. A 100% reflective satellites deployed around the Sun would have an overall density of 0.78 grams per square meter of sail. Such a material has not yet been produced in the form of a working light sail. The lightest carbon fiber light sail material currently produced has a density of 3 grams per square meter, or about 4 times as heavy as would be needed to construct a solar satellite. If we humans were able to create a working Dyson Sphere, it will be a leap of advancement so huge that we will be on our way to a Type 3 civilization. A civilization that is destined to rule the universe.